Barnwell. Sweep? Is that what we're looking at here? Or can we say the word one last time? Stave! Similarities in the Stanley Cup Final and the NBA Finals. The stars, the teams, and the Panthers and Celtics specifically. It's bang on. Tonight and this weekend, does history await? Let's go around the horn.
2 sweeps coming up.
Is tonight the night? Boston's crowning achievement. Can the Mavericks stave off elimination? The feeling of inevitability, was it sketched on Luka's face yesterday? The Celtics' collective team dominance approaching historic levels. A win tonight would put them there. A 16-2 postseason, an 80-20 year. Whew. And if not, still 3 more chances and 2 at home. And if not, still 3 more chances and 2 at home. So the inevitability here, you might say, maybe you think there's a chance, but talk to me about practicality tonight. Ramona Shelburne, around the horn to you. You're in Dallas covering the series. For the Celtics to do it or the Mavericks to stave tonight, what will it take?
You know, I think if you're the Mavericks, you got to fall back on what got you here, and that is individual brilliance from Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, and a defensive effort which we actually saw them bring in the second half when they made their comeback in Game 3. They didn't quite finish it off, and I think that falls at the doorstep of Luka Doncic because he is that guy. And every great player we've seen in this league, whether it be LeBron James or Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, whether it was the Jordan rules Detroit threw at him, LeBron, where when he first played the Spurs, nobody would guard him. They would dare him to shoot. They have to get over something in their career. Luka Doncic needs to bring a consistent defensive effort. He's getting blown by 67% of the time in these finals. That is the most in the 10 years that they've tracked that stat. He's got to just play a little bit of defense. He can't reach the way he did and fouled out in the last game. And if he can just do that, then Dallas has a chance because there's a reason they got to these finals in the first place.
Ramona, let me ask you a follow-up on Luka specifically then, all right? It was the night of that game, he was being ethered by everybody. Then to come out yesterday in the availability and take accountability the way he did. How did you hear him specifically and whether he's got it in him tonight to turn it back on?
You know, Jason Kidd has been telling Luka Doncic for the 3 years that he's coached him, I am always going to tell you the truth. And he has been telling Luka, you got to stop picking on the refs. You got to stop whining. You got to get back on defense. You can't reach. It has not gotten through for the 3 years he's coached him because it hasn't had to get through because he's so brilliant and so good. He hasn't had to change. Guess what? He might have to change because he finally sees the effects of it. And so let's see if there's enough time for him to make that change finally and not just talk.
Around the horn to you now, the number one thing you're watching for tonight.
I'm watching for a sweep, Tony. I hate to say this as much as I really hate to say this because I hate the Celtics. This is an historic, one of the best teams ever. This is unbelievable. They're 7-0 on the road in the postseason. They're 6-0 in clutch time games. They've dominated the match. There's nothing that tells you the Mavs have any chance at all tonight. They're plus 30 in assists. They're plus 15 in block shots. They do all the dirty work. They only made 7 mid-range jumpers in the last game. Everything they do is from the three-pointer or layup. They're going to dominate tonight. They're going to win it, sweep.
Can we just sit back and enjoy something for a second? Bill, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but you would call yourself one of the great Boston haters of all time. A professional hater.
Boston.
Just systematic in how you do it. And you're saying you're impressed by their greatness. A team that's on the precipice of a 16-2 postseason. I mean, we haven't seen that more than a half a dozen times in history. Bill Barnwell, around the horn to you.
Believe the Mavericks have a chance, but they have to start hitting some threes in this series. They're hitting at a 28% clip after hitting at a 37% clip during the regular season and the postseason to this point. And hey, of course the Celtics are playing great defense. They deserve credit, but even the Celtics are holding teams to a 34% clip. This is a team that really, I would actually kind of disagree with the excellent Ramona Shelburne. I think they have to focus less on Kyrie, less on an injured Luka. Maybe spread the ball around more. They've upped their ISO rate dramatically. I think more Washington, more Green, try to pass the ball around more often, get more open shots. I think that's the way to try and unlock this Celtics defense.
And now David Dennis Jr.
This is about the Boston Celtics completing the sweep tonight. Because you look at the first three games, they did a lot of the things that you worry about the Celtics doing coming to the series. They blew a big lead in game 1. They couldn't make a shot in game 2. They blew a big lead in game 3. And they still won all 3 of those games. And a lot of that is because of a flawless game plan against Luka. Like, he was browbeat a lot after game 3. But the fact is, the Celtics have pounded the Mavs when he's not in the game. 26 points differential in the Celtics' favor whenever Luka's not in the game in just 28 minutes. And the way that they are targeting him offensively, all those blow-bys that Ramona mentioned, 65%, 3 of the most blown-by games that we've seen in the history of the finals have been against Luka in these last 3 games. And he is gassed by that fourth quarter. He's only scored 8 total points in the fourth quarters in this series so far, shooting just 20%. They're tiring him out, and that has to go tribute to the Celtics and their game plan.
Tribute to the Celtics. Back to you, Ramona Shelburne, on Boston, what you've seen specifically from them in these 3 games.
They are shooting three-pointers at a historic pace. 56% of their shots are three-pointers, okay? So we talk about Mike D'Antoni and three-pointers and Daryl Morey. This is the epitome of Daryl Morey ball, and you would not think that with the Boston Celtics because they don't have one great three-point shooter like a Steph Curry. But that's how they're winning this series. They've been living by the three-pointer. They can also die by that three-pointer. And so if you're Dallas and you're looking for a reason to have a chance, the Celtics have not shot the ball great, but they just kill you with the math. They just shoot so many of them and make just enough that they've been winning. If they have one bad shooting night, though,
is it just the math, though? I mean, because do the other math. 15-2 this postseason, Ramona. 79-20 on the season. That's a rarefied air that I don't think we're saying enough with the team right now. What got them over that hump?
The great George Sedano, who's our colleague here around the horn, he was in the huddle with the Boston Celtics the other day on ESPN Radio, and he heard Jaylen Brown basically saying, this is when we graduate, okay? The Celtics look like a team that has been here enough, and they are ready to graduate. They are ready to win. The Mavericks look like it is their first time on this stage, and they are making the types of mistakes that Boston used to make.
Will tonight be graduation night, or will it be later this weekend? It just seems like the sound of inevitability here with the Boston Celtics. We'll move on now. Maybe you feel the same way about the Florida Panthers. So close so many times in their history. The hoist now within reach after last night's Game 3 win in Edmonton. They got out in front early. Barkov and Bobrovsky, huge. Shutting down McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman again, and able to hold on late. Bill Barnwell around the horn to you is what we're seeing here. What the Panthers are doing so well or what the Oilers are failing to do.
It is what the Panthers are doing with the old school physicality. Matthew Tkachuk, not the enforcer, but the antagonist of this series. There's no Evander Kane, who was scratched last night, to slow him down. 70% of the high danger chances when he's on the ice, second most of any player in this series. Sergei Bobrovsky, the goaltending, 21 high danger chances for the Oilers. He stopped all 21 of them this series. Look at what happened in the final 2 minutes of that game. Oilers 6-on-5, needing a goal in front of the home crowd. They didn't even get a shot on net over that 2-minute period. The only shot came for the Panthers. They're dominating the Oilers physically.
David Dennis Jr.
Hey, look, I know on Monday and Friday you killed me for not mentioning the goalies leading into this finals, but I did mention the power play, and that has been a huge difference. The Oilers are 0 for 10 the power play. The Panthers have stopped 96% of power play. They have 96% penalty kills in the last 16 games this playoffs. The way that they have dominated in that aspect of the game has made a huge difference in a series that, even though it's 3-0, is won in those margins. McDavid and Draisaitl, no goals so far because of that defense.
All right.
This is the Panthers snuffing
But
them out.
still an opportunity, and you didn't mention Sergei Bobrovsky's name. David, it's like walking into a rake here. Bill Plaschke, how about you?
I was getting ready to say this. What about Bob? What about Bob?
You look like
He's
you can play that role.
98% save percentage, the best in Stanley Cup history. He's going to win the Conn Smythe. The top 5 scorers for Edmonton have not scored a goal in this series. It's a defense. The Panthers sweep.
And of course, Phil. Yeah, you didn't need to say that. Just watch you cook. Go ahead, Ramona Shelburne.
I mean, look, the top 5 scores for Edmonton haven't scored, but that's also because Florida's been great at defending opposing forwards. Like there's 9 players that have scored 25 or more goals in the regular season that have not scored against the Panthers. They're great on defense, and I think we have to credit them. If there's an NBA analogy here, the Panthers are the Celtics. They're ready to win. They've done it all.
Similarities.
Sorry to make the metaphor.
Series are right there. No, I allow it. I mean, I said it at the opening of the show, right? I mean, McDavid could be Doncic maybe in your mind here, and the similarities in how the games are close at the end and they hold on.
McDavid and Luka, right?
Plaschke, you went full Plaschke. You said both series are over. We expect you to say that. From your perspective, sweep, a health of the league thing, a competition standpoint, is that a good thing because you love your over series? Is that a bad thing, or is this just the way it is?
I think it's a bad thing. They need these things to extend longer. They need more interest in it. It's a bad thing. Although it's a good thing for the Lakers.
All right, wait. I woke up the set. I got to come back here and watch you. Get out of here. Let's go. Fire yourself back.
You know, Bobrovsky's playing really well.
Thank you, David. I mean,
Too late.
the newest historic contract in the NFL. Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, 5-year, $275 million extension at $55 million per. It's tied with Joe Burrow, most in the league. Money is money. Guys get paid. Bill Barnwell. Around the horn to you on the accomplishments meeting that contract and if this makes sense going forward. Buy or sell?
I buy that it does make sense because, of course, you have Blaine Gabbert and Blake Bortles in your recent history. You want to avoid that. And I think Trevor Lawrence has been a lot better than people have given him credit for. Second half of 2022, first half of 2023, top 10 in passer rating, top 10 in QBR, won a playoff game. Jags were 8-3 in November, positioned to be the top seed in the AFC when Lawrence got hurt. They lost all their games after that. Highest drop rate of any quarterback in football over his first 3 years. I think he needs more around him, but he's a great player.
David Dennis Jr.?
Yeah, I'm buying this. He's the best quarterback the Jaguars have had since we were on AOL dial-up in the mid-'90s with Mark Brunell. But I think that this is grabbing the headlines because this is the highest paid quarterback. It's not going to be that for long. It's going to be a bargain when you look at all these other quarterbacks coming down the pipe.
Maybe, but right now he's ahead of Patrick Mahomes. He's ahead of.
He's ahead of them for now.
Okay.
In 3 weeks, he won't be there because these other quarterbacks will be putting pressure on a lot of owners to get paid.
Ramona Shelburne, I understand everyone gets paid. I understand it's not your money. Sure, go get it money. The accomplishments leading up to that number 1 status, how do you view it?
I mean, he has not earned the status to be the number 1 paid quarterback in the league. But I'm sitting here in Dallas, where Tim Cowlishaw is usually here railing about the Cowboys, and look what a mess they've made of their situation with a guy who also has not necessarily earned that right. But because they have not taken care of Dak Prescott, because they've let this linger, it has become one of the dominant stories of the offseason. And I think with Trevor Lawrence, you have stability now, you have clarity, and if they need to change it sometime, they can work with him the same way the Chiefs do.
Bill Plaschke.
In only one universe does a player have a record of 10 games under 500, lead the league in turnovers last year,
wondering.
lead the league in interceptions the last 3 years, and still get all this money. I guess I'm anti-Bill Barnwell stats here, but these are terrible stats. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't earn it. But there's only one universe that does work. It's the NFL, where you have to have a quarterback. He's the only quarterback they have. They have no choice.
Buy or sell 2. Fever 91, Dream 84 the last night. And here it is, the Aaliyah Boston breakout game many were waiting for, 27-13. And there's a win for Indy. There's a question, a legitimate question. Are they running better now? Have they turned the corner? And then to consider it's been happening while Caitlin Clark is struggling, even more intriguing. 2 of her worst games back-to-back. That comes in the shadow of the Team USA roster announcement and in the wake of the pregame questions.
I wonder from your standpoint how you feel about people using your name in whatever culture wars or whatever wars they're fighting. How do you feel about that?
It's not something I can control, so I don't put too much thought and time into thinking about things like that. Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think everybody in our world deserves the same amount of respect. The women on our league deserve the same amount of respect.
David Dennis Jr., I'd love your view on that and whether you think it's affecting Caitlin Clark's play right now.
First with the comments, it is unfortunate that Caitlin Clark has been at the center of all of this discussion and been used to denigrate the players, and she has to be the one to speak up about this. But with that said, I do believe that any person in privilege has a moral obligation to speak up against racism and homophobia and transphobia and all those things. Like I, as a man in that place of privilege, have to speak out against these things that impact women. What I hope is that Caitlin Clark and that these are going to, this is probably challenging her in the way that she is playing, and it's affecting her just like it affects all these WNBA players who have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. What my hope is that the more that Caitlin Clark speaks up against the racism, against the things, the misogyny that her teammates and fellow WNBA players have to face, that she will actually find the community and find the ways to get through all of this, and they can do it together. But she does, you know, the more she speaks up, the more this will benefit her and the league overall.
Ramona Shelburne.
Listen, Caitlin Clark didn't ask for this, but Bruce Springsteen didn't ask for Born in the USA to be played at political rallies. Like, sometimes you don't have a choice, and she happens to be the most famous women's basketball player right now. And this is a political league. She is playing in a league that took stances on political candidates in the last election cycle. And so whether she is being used this way and it's her choice or not, she's going to have to speak on it eventually, because these are the waters that she swims in, to quote the great Bruce Arthur, who tweeted that this morning.
Bill Plaschke.
Tiger Woods wouldn't go there. Michael Jordan wouldn't go there. Kudos to Caitlin Clark for finally going there and getting in that direction. She has no choice. She has to speak up. She's in an intersectional crossroads of society that all different sides are hitting her from all different angles. She needs to stand up for everybody, for inclusion, for diversity, and she's doing that. Good for her. But it's hurt her on the court. She's wiped out on the court, but she's handling it very well off the court.
Bill Barnwell.
I echo the off-the-court sentiment spoken here, but on the court, this is a very difficult league to adjust to, even if you are a star, a first overall pick. Kelsey Plum averaged 8.5 points per game as a rookie. Took her 4 years to get into double digits. Sabrina Ionescu, former first-round pick, got hurt in her first year. Second year, averaged 11 points per game before breaking out as a star. This is a very hard league. Asia Wilson becoming a star immediately. That is the exception, not the rule. Even if the off-court stuff was not happening, Caitlin Clark could still very easily be struggling because of the difficulty of playing at the high level.
Ramona, can I bring you back in on the on-court, please?
Yeah, you know what? Lisa Bluter stepped away from Iowa. Let's get her back, because she knows how to let Caitlin Clark play on the court and be Caitlin Clark. The system she's playing in is not benefiting her unique talents. Bill's right, she's tired from the season, but they also are not focusing on her and featuring her in the way that Lisa Bluter knew how to do at Iowa.
David, Bill, thank you for your time today. Showdown next. We don't see this often. Bill Plaschke, Ramona Shelburne. They're never in different cities.
Go.
Well, now we can have them head-to-head next. College World Series. As you look at the bracket, Bill Plaschke, tell me who you got in the tournament, who you got in the Jello shots.
I got North Carolina in the tournament. North Carolina's had the toughest road to get her. They beat LSU in extra innings. They won on a walk-off home run. They were great. Tony, I don't know what Jello shots are. I don't get that. I don't understand it. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You've never had one? Yeah, I don't. Okay. And then Ramona Shelburne, how about you?
I had a whole answer for this, but I'm just floored by Bill Plaschke not knowing whether a Jello shot or never taken one.
honest.
Bill, you're missing out. My goodness. I'm gonna go with NC State, because that's the team in 2021 that had there was a COVID year and they got eliminated for the forfeit because they had an outbreak on their team. And I also like, they have 14 home runs in the tournament. That's second most. It's a home run tournament. And
you're wearing the red for the Wolfpack there, which is great. Lady in red. You're matching your background too. Showdown 2.
Like margaritas.
Kansas City's championship rings. They unveiled them last night. In addition to the 14 carats and billion jewels they got on it, they had the game-winning play engraved into the ring. Ramona, grade it.
Let's give that a B+. Mostly they messed up the Miami Dolphins, right? They were supposed to be this. They had the wrong seating on there, but in some ways that might make it more valuable, because it's like a baseball card that's got a defect. There's only a few of them, and they're all wrong.
Bill Plaschke?
Hey, Ramona, they messed up the Kobe Bryant statue out here, so anything can happen with being messed up.
True.
I give it an A+. I love the play. That's so original, so brilliant, looks great. It's very good because of the football edge.
Give a point for Plaschke. You got some more work to do here. Showdown 3, Utah Hockey Club. The name for 1 year. The colors and sweaters, that'll be the scheme, but the name for 1 year, because they're still going to fan vote for the nickname Beyond. They still have many options, Bill, is this a good call, a bad call, or we call that it's kind of a no call?
This is a terrible call. You get a team, first thing you do is get a name. The first thing you do is get a name. You have a baby, you name it. You name it first. What are they waiting for? It's crazy.
Ramona?
I mean, I'm still getting over the woofed, right? The Washington football team. And what is the Utah Hockey Club? The ugh? No. That doesn't work.
I didn't say it. Yeah, I see what you're saying here. Bill Plaschke, it's Father's Day this weekend. I want to wish you the happiest of Father's Day.
Thank
One
you.
of the great fathers of all time, Bill Plaschke. I also want to now, well, it's a day, and for everybody it means something different. And for our friend Ramona Shelburne, Ramona, we love you, and we know you're going through loss this month with the loss of your loving father, Jim. I'd like to give you some time to remember him right now.
You know, I often hear athletes say, you know, I played this game because my mom would want me to or my dad would want me to, and I never understood that until now. My dad was my biggest fan. I never doubted for 1 second how much he loved me, and everything I do in our religion, we say, may his memory be a blessing. I was blessed to have such a great dad my whole life, and everything I do after that, I'll think of him, I'll think of his strength, and it's a blessing.
Oh, Ramona, you know, the love that you show everyone and your beauty and your strength, that most surely came from an amazing father. And we're with you here the whole way. And everything you do, not just for him, may you do it with him.
Industry. Both will be the focus as both final series in the NBA and NHL are on the verge of sweeps. The NBA Countdown crew will join us to discuss if the finals have changed the perception of Luka.
Plus, we are tracking Kristaps Porzingis availability. We'll bring you that. And we've got tonight's best bets as well, so let's stay right there. Game 4, NBA Finals, tonight, 8:30, ABC. With a win in Game 4, well, the Celtics would secure banner number 18 and surpass the Lakers for the most championships in NBA history. This would be the first title for the Celtics, you remember, since 2008. On the flip side, Dallas, the third team to trail 3-0 in the NBA Finals after leading the prior round 3-0. As for avoiding the sweep, Mavericks have not lost 4 straight games at any point this season. Boston's won 10 straight games, becoming the 9th team to win at least 10 straight within a postseason in NBA history. A Celtics win would secure the longest win streak to end a season in NBA history. And with so much history on the line, you take a look at the Celtics here, and who have been leading in this series. 95 of them have swept the series when they go up 3-0, which is not exactly portend a good competition tonight, but certainly we will see as we go on the scene to Dallas, where the Tims have got us all covered. We've got Tim Bontemps, who's covering the Celtics, Tim McMahon, who's with the Mavericks. We're going to start with the home team, and Tim, the McMahon one. The storyline after Game 3, of course, was Luka fouling out and his issues with the officiating. What's he saying about bouncing back tonight?
Howdy, El. Look, this is not something that just now popped up. Losing focus because of his frustration with the officials is something that Luka Doncic has dealt with, has struggled with throughout his career. And, you know, yesterday he came out and said he's going to get back to focusing on playing fun, on enjoying the game. This is the second time during his playoffs that he's made that sort of pregame commitment. Now, the last time he said it was before Game 5 against the Oklahoma City Thunder when that series was tied. He responded with a 31-point triple-double, one of his best performances of this postseason. I think you will see a focused, locked-in version of Luka Doncic that, again, he'll be focusing on 5-on-5, not the 3 guys in the gray shirts.
Yeah, hopefully. The semantics definitely need to chill. ESPN Bet thinks he'll lock in, too. They've got the Mavericks as a 1.5-point favorite tonight. Tim McMahon with the latest from Dallas. For much more on the Celtics, we send it to Gary and the other Tim.
We won't go far, just to the other baseline. It's Tim of the Bontemps variety. Tim, KP was just out there on the court moments ago. Kristaps Porzingis warming up like a guy who wants to play. What did you see?
That's what I saw, Gary, a guy in Kristaps Porzingis who is doing everything he possibly can to be out here tonight at the potential NBA Finals clinching Game 4 for the Boston Celtics, something Porzingis has said he was going to do. He's going to do everything he possibly can to be out here on the court with his teammates in this game. He was out here for about 25 minutes, went through a rigorous workout, was running end-to-end at a decent pace, jumping, doing some sliding drills, moving around, frankly, pretty well for a guy who has suffered this rare foot and ankle injury in Game 2, an injury that caused him to miss Game 3 and has him questionable again for Game 4 tonight. But, Gary, being around the Celtics, this team is locked in and ready to go for this game. Even after the way Game 3 ended, with the fourth quarter getting a little bit closer than the Celtics would have liked, the message from this team over the last 48 hours is that they know exactly the situation that Dallas is in, because they were in it a year ago in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat. The Celtics pushed that series to a 7th game. If Jason Tatum hadn't sprained his ankle, the Celtics believe they would have been the first team to come back from 3-0 and advance in the playoffs for the first time in NBA history. They do not want the Dallas Mavericks to become that team. They want to get their 18th NBA championship. We'll see if they can get it done tonight.
They are on the verge of an NBA Finals sweep. We've only seen 9 sweeps in NBA Finals history, most recently when the Warriors did so back in 2018. Tim Bontemps with the latest from Dallas. Thanks, Tim. More on the finals ahead on SportsCenter. How Luka struggles in the finals should change our opinion of the Mavs superstar. The NBA Countdown crew standing by.
Let's go to the NFL, where we already know this, but the quarterback position is where the money resides. We see you Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence agreeing to a 5-year extension that Adam Schefter reports is worth $275 million. 200 of that guaranteed. The deal starts in 2026, so the former #1 pick is under contract through 2030. We like history, right? The $55 million average annual value of Lawrence's deal ties him with Joe Burrow for the highest in NFL history. It's just the latest in a run of mega deals for QBs, with each of these 5 contracts signed over the last 14 months alone.
If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So to talk a little money, let's bring in our money guy. He's money. Jeremy Fowler with us. Who's just standing by now that Trevor Lawrence's deal is done, licking their chops, thinking they're going to match or surpass?
Well, let's start with Tua. We're talking $50 million and up. That's the club, right? There are 6 quarterbacks in the club. Tua's trying to jump in the club. Many others are as well. He, in Miami, probably has the path of least resistance because Miami is committed to doing something. Hadn't made a lot of progress as of yet, but I'm told they've been in talks. They're at least in the ballpark, and I wouldn't be surprised if this starts to heat up as early as next week because the Dolphins know this is the market, and this is the leading passer from last year, played all 17 games, proved he could be durable. So he has earned the coin. Just depends on when Miami's going to put something on it.